Today we will be reading about ratio analysis. There are many type of ratio. The first being the liquidity ratio, the second being the solvency ratio, third being the activity ratio, and fourth being the profitability ratio. So we will be reading today the liquidity ratio, which is short-term solvency ratio. The first being the current ratio. So the current ratio formula is current assets divided by current liability. In the current assets, you have cash, you have marketable securities, you have debtor, you have account receivable, and in the current liability, you have bills payable, creditor. So the liability which you pay within 12 months, the time period here being 12 months. So if I have current ratio of 2, suppose the current ratio is 2, it means that you have 2 times the current assets to cover the current liability. Second being the quick ratio, which is said to be acid test ratio. The quick ratio is the ratio in which you take the current assets but you exclude the first being the inventory. Here also we take the inventory because inventory is an current assets. So we take the current asset but exclude the inventory because it takes time to convert. So it is not included in the quick assets and it is divided by the current liability. The third being the cash ratio. So as it states, you have cash and cash equivalent. The cash and cash equivalent means cash, marketable securities. So the assets that will be converted within 3 months are said to be the cash and cash equivalent. We will be dividing with the current liability in order to calculate the cash ratio. If you have cash ratio of suppose 4, it means that you have enough cash and cash equivalent in order to meet your current liability or current obligations. The fourth being the net working capital. So the net working capital is the difference between current assets and current liability, which is said to be the CA minus CL. So in the current ratio, it's current assets divided by current liability. The current assets are the assets which will be in cash within 12 months. It includes the cash and cash equivalent as well. In the quick ratio, we exclude the inventory, and if you have prepaid expense, then also these are excluded from quick assets. The third being the cash ratio, which is cash and cash equivalent divided by the current liability. The fourth being net working capital, which is said to be the difference between current assets and current liability. So we will be reading about next ratio in the next class. Thank you for watching.